guys, welcome to the channel, and this is another part of my Diversity CAS challenge, in which we focus on nationalities and alternate between a biological female and biological male, and I use a number generator to pick from a list of nationalities, and I don't know, I've been really liking it a lot because it really opens my eyes to other cultures in the world, and I just love learning about different things. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. There are only a few more left. I mean, there's quite a few left, but we've gotten through a lot of the list, and yeah, I've really been enjoying it. And if you want to check out the rules and do it for yourself, I'll leave that down below. But if you don't know where the Sioux is, they are located in northern United States on reservations in Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. And the Sioux tribe, well, when I did the number generator, I landed on Native American, so I didn't really specify a tribe or anything to focus on. So with everything happening right now in the Dakotas, I thought it was appropriate to focus on the Sioux tribe. And well, you know, because recently they've been involved heavily in protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline, and I won't say too much on you know, my opinion of it, because I don't want to talk politics on my channel, but I do want to say that it is important to remember that tribes across America have been here since time, you know, immemorial, and Native Americans often live in poverty and they live in under less than favorable conditions, and we must have them in our thoughts and support them, not only in times of protest and when they're being marginalized, but as they try to live out their lives, you know, their daily lives. I have immense respect for Indigenous people, especially the Native Americans here in the US. And I feel as though they've often gotten the short end of the stick throughout history, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But the Sioux are a group of Native American tribes and First Nations peoples in North America. The term Sioux can refer to any ethnic group within the Great Sioux Nation, or to any of the nation's many large dialects. On the right is Sioux Falls. This here is the spiritual leader of the Great Sioux Nation, Chief Arvol Looking Horse. I'm not sure if he's the current chief or not, because that photo was taken in 2015, so not 100% sure on that. But yeah, so the term Sioux can refer to any ethnic group within the Great Sioux Nation, or to any of the nation's many language dialects. The Sioux have three major divisions based on language, which are the Dakota, the Lakota, and the Nakota. And today, the Sioux maintain many separate tribal governments scattered across several reservations, which I touched on before, communities and reserves, and the Manitoba in southern Saskatchewan in Canada. And forgive me also if I butcher any of these names. But the name Sioux was actually adopted in English by the 1760s from the French, and it is an abbreviation of the word Naduesu, first attested by Jean Nicolet in 1640, and the Dakota are first recorded to have resided at the source of the Mississippi River during the 17th century, and by 1700, some had migrated to present-day South Dakota. In the late 19th century, railroads railroad companies wanted to build tracks through Indian lands, and the railroad companies hired hunters to actually exterminate the bison herds, which were their primary food supply. Which, yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what's happening now, except it's not with bison, it's with water. But anyway, the Dakota and the Lakota were forced to accept U.S.-defined reservations in exchange for the rest of their lands in farming and ranching of domestic cattle as opposed to a nomadic hunting economy. And during the first years of the reservation era, the Sioux people depended upon annual federal payments guaranteed by the treaty for their survival. And in Minnesota, the treaties of Traverse des Sioux and Mendota in 1851 left the Dakota with a reservation of 20 miles or so alongside the Minnesota River. And today, half of all enrolled Sioux in the United States live off the reservations. Enrolled members in any of the Sioux tribes in the U.S. are required to have ancestry that is at least a quarter-degree Sioux, which is basically the equivalent of having one grandparent who is a Sioux. And in Canada, the Canadian government recognizes the tribal community as First Nations, and the land holdings of these First Nations are called Indian Reserves in Canada. So, yeah. So, for Mato here, which by the way, Mato means bear in one of the Sioux dialects. I'm not sure which one, but I thought it was very fitting for him. And obviously, not all Sioux or modern day Native Americans are that, have long hair, but I feel like from what I've seen in pictures, a lot of the older men in the Native American tribes and in the Sioux have longer hair, maybe not as long as they used to be, but definitely longer hair. I thought for his formal wear, he could braid his hair, as well as for his party wear. I thought that would be appropriate as well, since they often do that for special occasions. I wish there was one with longer braids, like 2 braids on the side, which is what they wear for special occasions and ceremonial dances. But unfortunately, we don't have that in the game, so I just went with 1 because it gives you it gives you a good idea of what they wear. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this diversity CAS. I obviously feel very strongly about what's going on up there. If you agree or disagree, that's okay. But we can all agree that the indigenous people and their culture are definitely a national treasure to our country's history. And I think it would be kind of a disservice not to kind of pay homage to them in some way. And that's why I decided to focus on the Sioux for this part. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!